Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a highly debated topic that is literally sending shockwaves through the entire educational landscape right now, the UGC Bill 2026. Now, our goal here isn't to take sides. Instead, we're creating a comprehensive guide to help students and families understand their rights and the potential risks involved. We'll be doing a clear, neutral breakdown of the newly released guidelines, the perceived threats, and the massive nationwide response they've triggered. So whether you're a student, a parent, or just someone invested in the future of education, this explainer is designed to help you understand exactly what's happening, what's at stake, and what it all means for you.
Is your child's future at risk? It's a pretty heavy question, isn't it? But it is absolutely the core of the warnings being issued by critics all across the country right now. If you believe your child's educational future is perfectly safe and immune from policy shifts, protesters are warning that you might be making a grave miscalculation. This very question is the spark that's ignited ongoing nationwide protests, bringing a real sense of extreme urgency to families everywhere.
Here's our quick roadmap for today's guide. 1. Understanding the UGC Bill 2026. 2. Potential risks for students. 3. The affordability debate. 4. Differing perspectives. 5. Steps for community engagement. And 6. What happens next?
Let's dive right into Section 1, Understanding UGC Bill 2026.
The sheer scale of this situation is just massive. We're not talking about some small, localized disagreement here. Hundreds of thousands, literally lakhs of students, have taken to the streets across India. Critics point out that this isn't just a problem for one specific age group either. This policy shift is poised to directly affect everyone. We're talking from a 10th grade student just starting to map out their future to a 12th grader prepping for college exams, all the way up to current undergrad and postgraduate students. It's a sweeping reform that has caught a huge demographic totally off guard, largely because many feel it just hasn't been talked about enough in mainstream circles.
Moving on to Section 2, Potential Risks for Students.
As part of understanding your rights, we need to look at what critics have identified as 3 major systemic threats. First up, there's a huge fear that this bill grants unprecedented power to private universities. The worry is that it allows them to act unchecked, meaning they could just hike up fees and change rules, leaving students with absolutely no recourse. Second, there's this deep anxiety that if the bill passes, the number of highly sought-after, affordable seats in government colleges will actually decrease. And third, these guidelines facilitate the entry of foreign universities into India. Now, while that might sound great on paper, the warning from protesters is that their fee structures are going to be astronomically high and completely unmanageable for the average citizen.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 3, the affordability debate.
If this bill passes, a middle-class child will not be able to go to college. Only the rich will be able to study. That is a direct quote from the protests, and it really gets to the core of their fear. The main argument here is that education is on the verge of becoming a luxury rather than a fundamental right. Those structural shifts we just talked about, unchecked private fees, a reduction in public seats, and super expensive foreign institutions, critics say they are all culminating in a terrifying scenario for middle-class families. They're practically sounding the alarm that the bill in its current form prices out the middle class, creating an exclusionary system where only the wealthy can actually afford higher education.
Let's take a look at both sides in Section 4, Differing Perspectives.
We are witnessing a major ideological collision here. On one side, the government's stated intent is entirely focused on enhancement. They maintain that the bill is carefully designed to improve the overall quality of education in India and to modernize the whole system. But on the flip side, the protesting students are asking a very pointed, tough question. Why is our future being ruined in the name of improving quality? They argue that a system that looks shiny and perfect on paper is totally useless if it destroys their actual futures by making higher education financially out of reach. So it's a classic clash between intended policy outcomes and the perceived on-the-ground reality.
Now let's explore Section 5, Steps for Community Engagement.
As part of this guide to understanding student actions in this scenario, protest leaders have laid out a specific blueprint for mobilization. It breaks down into 3 distinct steps. Step 1, wake up. Critics argue that the biggest danger right now is ignorance, people just assuming it's politics as usual and tuning it out. Step 2, raise a collective voice. The students already out there protesting are viewed as the leaders of tomorrow, but they're saying they need numbers. Joining the protests is presented by them as a vital exercise of civic rights. And Step 3, share the warning. Because mainstream awareness is considered to be pretty low right now, building a grassroots network of information among your family and friends is seen as absolutely essential to fighting the bill.
The underlying philosophy here is essentially a direct warning from the critics. If the community stays silent and just ignores this, the bill will pass, and the resulting regret is going to be widespread. Protesters fundamentally believe that raising a loud, unified, collective voice is literally the only mechanism they have left to force a change, or at least force a pause, in this legislation before it officially becomes the law of the land. It's a very strong call to immediate community action.
Finally, Section 6. What happens next?
So why is there such an incredible sense of panic right now? Well, it's because the window for action is rapidly closing. The target for implementing these new UGC guidelines is 2026, but think about the ripple effects for a second. If you have a child preparing to enter college in those critical admission years of 2027 or 2028, critics are saying this bill represents the single biggest threat to their educational trajectory. The changes will be fully operational exactly when they are trying to secure a seat, which is exactly why the pressure to act is mounting so heavily today.
So government intent versus student fears. Who is actually right about the future of education here? Is this a necessary, albeit painful, step toward building a world-class education system? Or is it a policy that will ultimately dismantle the dreams of middle-class students? Stay informed, engage with the facts, and make sure to join us for part 2 of this explainer, where we'll explore exactly what happens if the bill passes, and look at further actions the community might take. Thanks for learning with us today.